नमस्कार, कसे आहात? Um, well, it is Thursday, so new episode. And the thing we are going to talk about today is going to be a little difficult for me. We're going to talk about avoidant attachment styles, something that I have dealt with on both sides, be it on the receiving end or the giving end. And that's why today's episode is going to be a little more serious, a little more difficult to speak about. And yeah, well, today's episode is dedicated to a very special person because of whom I'm here right now, because of whom I owe that person a lot. That person knows who they are. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the episode. So, getting started, what exactly is avoidant attachment? People who have seen my earlier video, who have done the test, who have read a little about it, they probably know. So it is the opposite of anxious attachment style. It is mainly to do a lot with being scared of emotions, being scared of letting somebody close to you, as compared to the anxious attachment, who is scared of leaving, or who is scared of uh, being abandoned and being left alone. These people are scared that their space is taken in, that they are not capable of handling somebody else's emotions. They are not capable of taking care, or it just becomes too much efforts. I will give you an example. This is a friend of mine, and she had gone to her boyfriend's place, and she was leaving that place, so she had a couple of books, and she just told him that, oh, you've got a nice place to keep all your books. He had a good bookshelf, so I'll put my books there. And his first reaction was, no, no, you can just put it in the box, or like wherever you're in your luggage. I don't want this. This is my bookshelf. I don't want to put other books here. And I was like, no, you can read it also. It'll look nice. Um, so then that guy said that, nay, I don't want. And this, my friend, was all like, okay, understandable, but why? And the guy had no explanation. It is because the smallest of things trigger a sense of suffocation in people who have an avoidant attachment style. If they are asked to do something, right, which changes certain aspects, very tiny aspects, like I said, in this case, the bookshelf example. If you see, practically, logically, there is nothing. There's absolutely nothing that can go wrong. But this sense that, oh, this is my space and somebody else is coming in, I have to put in efforts to accommodate somebody else also inside it. That scares avoidance. That literally shakes them up. That is something, that's one of the characteristics. So there's a lot of, we're going to dig into it. But have you ever met somebody and things are going well, be it your friends, or like you're connecting really well, and suddenly one day they just change. Nothing has happened. There's no plot twist, there's no trigger points, nothing, and suddenly they're like, okay, don't want to talk anymore, sorry, uh, my laptop's moving, don't want to talk anymore, or don't want to like spend time anymore, or so I will tell you one example from my end. um, I was in school bus stories, I think we can call them school bus stories. And there was one friend of mine, very sweet, very, very sweet, very humble girl. And I became friends with her, and I was very close to her, and she started sharing, eventually started sharing her life things, and like what she likes and the things that she's scared of. As a kid, I did not know what I was doing, but it just felt like, whoa, whoa, no, 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 she's getting too close. She's telling me things about her life. She's expecting me. Like, I felt responsible when I heard those things. Just by listening to those things, I felt like, shit, this is getting too serious. Like, and it's friendship. I don't even know. I was in seventh grade. So I was all like, no. But instead of dealing with it, instead of understanding what is happening, because it just felt people avoidance. I am not an avoidant. I I will talk about what I come under. But what I felt at that point was a very different sense of responsibility. It felt like I had to put in efforts to soothe her or to listen to her. Even though now when I look back, I was like, there was no efforts. She was just sharing what she was feeling. But I did not understand that. I felt like I could not do anything. I felt helpless. I felt like, oh, if I can't do anything and that, like, I'm responsible for this. I felt responsible. I felt like I could not do anything. And that feeling was a very different negative feeling. And the best thing what I could do at that point was to push her away. I did that. Slowly, slowly, by being a little rude, a little mean, I just like, you know, yeah, I was a very mean girl. I think I was a bully. You can consider it as a bully. On the outer surface, it might have felt very different, but till date, that haunts me. Till date, I keep wondering, like, why did I do that? And now I finally have an answer. That's because I was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed with these emotions. I was overwhelmed with somebody else being vulnerable around me. And that is scary. That can be scary. That can especially be scary if you are of the avoidant attachment style, right? You're doing well, you are bonding with somebody, and suddenly you realize, wait, this person is affecting my life, this person is affecting my emotions, this person is affecting my daily routine, this person is, you know, considering my feelings and my emotions into their life. It's a huge responsibility. You feel scared, you get cold feet, and you back off. That is what avoidant attachment style is. On the outer surface, it might feel like they're very cold, they don't care, they don't have any emotions. To be honest, they have a lot more emotions than you think. You feel like they don't care, but actually, they overthink every tiny detail and they care a little too much. You can think of it like anxious attachment styles are much simpler because they know that, okay, I'm scared of something. They know that, you know, these are the feelings that I have and I want this person in my life. Avoidance don't know what they want. Avoidance are so confused. They're confused with how, and they overthink every tiny thing that even right now, anxious attachments is about right now. Like right now I'm feeling, or right now I'm feeling something. Avoidance is about long term. They start feeling, okay, but if I start accommodating this person in my life, then my this space is gonna go, then this is gonna go, then that is gonna go. Then in the future, what if, you know, what about my friends? What about my family? What about this? What about that? What about my career, my work? How is it gonna get affected? They start thinking about the tiniest of things. They overthink to an extent where anxious attachments also feel like, what? Why are you overthinking so much? So yeah, it is. It is a very normal thing. It is something, and very sadly, after pushing people away, after a couple of months, when they're all by themselves, when they're a little more calm, when they know that there is no overwhelming feelings now, when they know that, okay, so it starts off very casually. You're friends with somebody and you're like, oh, this is nice. It's casual, it's fun. Like we're talking to each other, we're hanging out with a group of, it can be a group of friends also. Eventually, you start opening up, you're becoming vulnerable. Anxious attachments mainly like to be vulnerable very immediately, but avoidance don't. So avoidance take their time, they put in efforts, they're like, oh, all cool, nice. Then slowly, slowly, they feel comfortable enough, avoidance feel comfortable enough to actually open up, to actually be vulnerable. Then they become vulnerable to the other person. Then they are like a little more involved. They start showing their emotions. But one sudden day, it snaps. One sudden day, they're like, wait, this is not who I am. I am being so vulnerable. I'm, for them, vulnerability, for them showing emotions or having emotions in the first place. Acknowledging that you have intense emotions, not the regular level, acknowledging that you have intense level of emotions is overwhelming. So the moment I realize, oh shit, this is getting serious, I am having emotions, I am feeling things that, are making me very uncomfortable, they snap. They snap. They're like, I don't want to do this. I'm not happy. I am moving out of this. And a lot of times in jobs, also, uh, this is the kind of these are the kind of people who work really well in like jobs, right? So if you see the higher level, because they are very practical, they do not acknowledge their emotions all that much. And when you don't acknowledge your emotions, you're all like practical, like, yeah, this, I don't have emotions, I don't care about emotions, even if I have emotions, I'm going to suppress them. So it makes it much easier for these people to take logical decisions, which makes them really good at their jobs, which makes them really good at higher positions in management. So it again, like I said, every style or every person has its pros, has its cons. And you would probably be thinking, if you do not relate to it, you would probably be thinking that how how can something like this happen, like how can somebody not want to have emotions or not want to have people around them. Now, on reading about this, it sometimes happens mainly because of the environment that you grew up in. You all know that. So maybe as a kid, your parents were never emotional or vulnerable around you. So it always felt like, no, being very stern and being very strict and being completely, focused on one thing and not showing emotions is the ideal way to live. Your parents might be extremely disciplined people who felt like, you know, crying or doing something out of their comfort zone was bad. Or when you were supposed showing some emotions, your parents probably were like, okay, it's not a big deal, don't cry about it, or like figure it out, I'm busy. It can also be possible that your parents were not around much, maybe your mother or your father, that they were traveling a lot or something. So for you, you would think that not showing emotions does not mean that there is no relation. You would probably feel like, yeah, I my parents were, one parent or both parents, my parents were not around, but that does not mean that they're not my parents, that they would still come back and love me. So showing emotions or expressing everything does not mean that the relationship is going well. And that is why they never show emotions. So the other person starts feeling like, oh, this person is not putting efforts, this person does not want me, or this person actually doesn't care if I'm there or if I'm not there, which is a valid thing. But you also have to understand from avoidance point of view, it is not something that we do on purpose. It is not something, it is just that we did not realize how to regulate our emotions. We were taught that having emotions is a weakness, and we are sorry about that, we are learning. But even to understand or accommodate, because the world is such, given the social media and everything, every person wants to come and tell you that your individuality is very important, your freedom, your space, you being alone is important. Everybody, it is a thing where everybody is like on social media that you come alone in the world and you go alone and nobody is there to trust, and you have to do it by yourself. And I'm not saying it is 100% wrong, but what I'm trying to say is, we live in a society, we live in a place which is filled with other people. We have been given a consciousness, we have been given all these intense and complex emotions so that we can share it. The social media just adds on to these avoidance thing that, oh yeah, no, you have to have your own thing and you have to have. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, you should, but accommodating somebody else in your life is not a bad thing. Somebody else is not pulling you back just because you have emotions for them or just because they have emotions for you, right? And again, we've spoken about why it happens and what are the symptoms. Again, there are a lot more symptoms about this, but majorly people who start pushing others away when things get real is one of the examples of avoidance. How to deal with it? Again, Like I said in my last episode, you have to understand your patterns. You have to sit down with yourself. You have to ask yourself, why am I feeling so overwhelmed? Why is having emotions right now equivalent to weakness? Is it because I feel like when I have intense emotions, I'm not able to express them? And at the same time, I keep thinking about it, which is distracting me from my daily routine, which is distracting me from my work. Is that what is happening? If that is what is happening, then you have to ask yourself, okay, it is distracting me, I'm having, what exactly are those emotions that I'm having so intensely? I am scared. What is it that I'm scared of? And the thing is, anxious attachment styles can can get better or can heal from this pattern by themselves. Avoidance cannot. I'm sorry to say this, but it is a very fact that if you are of avoidant attachment style, 99% of the time you will not be. You will need a partner, you will need a friend, or you will need somebody who can come and give you that space, that okay, we're not leaving, you can have your space, but we're not even going too far. You're not pushing us away. We are going to stick around. We are going to stay right here. You figure out your emotions. You take as long as you need. You figure out your emotions and you tell, okay, what exactly is it? You need somebody who can show you how to express your feelings. You need somebody who can actually come and tell you that it is okay to have intense emotions, and it is completely absolutely okay to be scared of losing somebody, to be scared of, you know, letting your life or your personality get influenced by somebody else, because that is who we are. We are humans. We're not meant to survive alone. To be honest, yeah, we're not meant to survive alone. So why are we trying so hard? The thing about avoidance also, I don't know how many of you could observe this. You can see that they jump into relations very quickly. So if suppose you had a breakup, or you had a friend, and you were like very close, and suddenly this thing happens, you will see the very next day or the very next week or the very next month they're with somebody else, and they're happy. They're absolutely happy. And you're like, Arey, but you said they have emotions, they cared so much, they put in so much efforts. Then what happened? Because they feel at home with a new person. They feel at home with a new person because they do not have that much attachment. Attachment scares them. When you do not have much attachment, when you do not have too many feelings for somebody, when you know that the other person is not able to affect you or your livelihood, they feel comfortable, they feel at home. That is the environment they grew up in, and they feel happy. So yeah, as a person, when you're watching something like this, you would be like, I'm so hurt, and like I am so disappointed, or you start questioning if the things were real. Let me assure you, everything was very real. This person probably does not understand this pattern that they're following. But eventually, let me tell you, if you do not heal out of this for the rest of your life, you are going to you're going to keep pushing people away. To fix this, you need to have a group of people, a group of you know supporters as such, who understand that, see, this is your pattern, this is your style, or this is what you're feeling right now, and it is okay. Just sit with it. Just deal with what you're feeling. You do not have to see. There are a lot of suggestions online. Okay, if you're feeling anxious, just go for a run, or if you're feeling something, just go for a walk, or you're not doing you don't feel like talking to somebody or something, go take a bath or some or the other. You have to understand those are distractions. I understand that everything is on the chemicals in your brain. So when you go for a run, there is a certain chemical that's released, and then you feel good about yourself. But that does not solve the problem internally. You still have to deal with your emotions. You still have to, those emotions are still going to come back. You're still going to feel overwhelmed. Are you going to keep going for a run again and again? Like there's this background score like bhag bhag dike boss. That I at least don't think that is the right way. So you have to sometimes sit with your uncomfortable emotions. You have to ask yourself, and you have to have a set of people who you can tell, see, this is what I'm feeling right now. I feel like my space is being invaded. And I don't know why I feel that way, even if it's the smallest things. I know that you asking me to just send a message, or you asking me to just like do the tiniest of things, I feel like it's a huge effort. I need to sit and realize that why I feel like that's a huge effort, but it does feel like a huge effort. And I need help to deal with it. I need help to understand that it is it is something I want to heal from. If you're not ready to have these communications, these open conversations with the people, you are not going to heal. I am sorry about that, but it is what it is. Anxious attachments can take care of themselves, avoidance cannot. You, I'm not saying not take care of yourself. Like, obviously, you're disciplined people, you can take care of yourself, you're very practical. But when I mean, if you want to heal from this, if you're comfortable with this, all good. Like I said, all completely fine, all good. You are happy with how you live, you're happy with not getting attached to people, you're happy with not having emotions, you're happy with, how your family life is, to be honest. Because see, we observe others and then we become certain selves. So maybe your parents are also avoidance. Maybe your parents are also somebody who have the same concepts as you do. So if you're comfortable, that's good enough. But if you're not, I would genuinely suggest find, not find, just around you, the people you're most comfortable with, talk to them, have a conversation, and that is the best way to move forward. There is no one solution as such, and that's okay. It is absolutely okay to take your time, but do understand that we as humans need each other. So, that being said, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. And next week, next Thursday, I will be talking about disorganized attachment style, which again, I belong to disorganized attachment style, which is a combination of anxious and avoidant. Sometimes I get overwhelmed by emotions, sometimes I am the one who's scared of, uh, you know, other person not having emotions, and that's a little more complicated than the first two. So we shall be talking about that next Thursday. If you do enjoy and like what I'm talking about, I would love to have a conversation with you. I would love to know your opinions and your thoughts, even if they do not match with me. I think that is even better if they don't match with me, because I love to have different perspectives on the things, and I'm learning myself. So please feel free to reach out, and thank you so much.